Welcome to Heather's Most Precious. I'm Heather. I am a wife and a mother and an insurance agency owner, a friend, and a PTA advocate. I am so excited to talk about all of the things that I find most precious here within our community, within our lives, and within our friendships and relationships. Here on Heather's Most Precious. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Heather's Most Precious. I am here with my new friend Megan McClain.
Woo! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Tell everyone what you brought us today.
Girl, I brought you some cookies. So my husband and I own the Chattanooga Cookie. So we're down on the North Shore over by Starbucks. So what we did for you today, we brought you a variety of our regular cookies. We've got 8 flavors. They're all amazing. But what we brought you specifically today is our vegan cookie, dairy-free. Yes. And we have these available on the weekends. We normally make them on Saturday morning, so it was no big deal for us to just bump that up a day. And we brought you an entire box of vegan chocolate chip cookies.
You bumped the whole baking up a day for me.
Baking for you.
That's so exciting. So I just found out, y'all, last week that I am allergic to dairy, and it has, y'all, dairy's in everything. Everything. So when I had to ask if they had vegan, and she said yes, I wanted to cry. But don't worry, we're gonna try them. Okay, which one do you want to try?
Okay. You take. Go for here. You do this one. This looks nice and beautiful and thick. And you know what? I have them every week, but for you, I will have another one. Yes.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Okay.
They even smell amazing. What is happening? This is like the best day of my life.
They're so thick. I prefer these sometimes over our regular chocolate chip. The taste is just a little different. Cheers.
Oh my goodness.
Right? I'm telling you. Those are legit vegan cookies, right?
I don't think so. That's phenomenal.
No, so I'm telling you, like, I'm just getting a certain mood sometimes, and I don't want something overly sweet, but I still need a cookie, and so I go for our vegan cookies every time.
These are phenomenal.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
So tell me this. I know that y'all have a storefront downtown Chattanooga.
Yes.
Where are y'all located downtown?
Okay, so we're actually on the North Shore. So there's Big Chill is kind of on a corner, but corner to that is this new-ish building. It was built several years ago, but there's Starbucks on one end, Chipotle on the other. We're over next to Starbucks. So Clean Your Dirty Face is a facial place that just opened up across the street. We've got a boutique. We've got like med spa and a hair salon. Like it's all this very like self-contained, I never have to leave block of North Shore, and it's amazing.
You said clean your dirty face so fast, I literally thought you were telling me to clean my dirty face. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had chocolate chips on
it. Listen, if we did,
it would be okay.
All we would have to do is go across the street, go to Clean Your Dirty Face, the facial franchise.
That's amazing.
And they would take care of us.
That's amazing.
Yes. Oh, it's in such a great location. Everybody's been so welcoming. Like the North Shore specifically has such a cool vibe. And so we just get the most fun people. Like literally there are some regulars that have their cell phone numbers and we're like doing recipe development. I'm like, come try this. Like we just have such great regulars, great customers. It's been such a great experience.
That's fantastic. Now for those of y'all who are outside of our community here in Chattanooga, or even North Georgia surrounding area, y'all do ship.
Oh, yes, we do. So we ship a dozen or 2 dozen, you can choose, but it's all on our website. So you can actually choose the flavors you want to. So if you just go to our website, which is thechattanoogacookie.com, very easy, there's a shipping tab, actually several shipping tabs that you can choose from, and it'll just take you to the same page, but you get to choose your flavors, and then we ship out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. And so if you just put your order in, you'll get it on the next business day. And we bake fresh. Like the day that we ship, that's the day the cookies are made. So we try to make them as fresh as possible so that by the time you get them, they're still like really good.
That is awesome. Now, would you say that you do a lot of kind of shipping, catering versus in-house, or is it pretty even?
You know what? So we kind of have these 3 buckets. And so we have a wholesale, So because we do wholesale for some hotels downtown, hotels and like just restaurants and stuff. So we're in a few hotels downtown. So we do wholesale, and then we do have catering / bulk orders, which is like a lot of it's wedding season. So we're dealing with a lot of, it's so interesting. Everybody is saying now like, oh, we're getting married and I'm just not a big cake fan. My husband's not a big cake fan. And so like cookies are having their moment right now on the bridal scene, which is awesome. Very convenient for us. So we've done a few bridal shows and it just kind of has built on itself because people now fall wedding season is like in full swing. So we do catering, and then our third bucket would just be regular retail, foot traffic, running promos and things like that. So those are our 3 buckets. And I would say retail and wholesale are really, because we're such a local brand that we do get shipping orders, and it's from people who like visited for the weekend and then they wanted more cookies. And so it is slowly building on itself. But for the most part, I'd say it's retail and wholesale.
So y'all heard that. All of my friends who are not here locally, wherever you are, the Chattanooga Cookie, these truly are phenomenal. And I am normally someone that, unless it's dough or literally, my husband always makes fun of me. He's like, you don't even cook your stuff. I want like warm dough.
Yes. I like it chewy.
I don't like it. These are phenomenal.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you like them.
Yeah, and they have vegan options. How exciting. So you mentioned you have several different flavors. What do you think is like the number one flavor of cookies? Okay, so our situation is we have 6 staples, and then we rotate out 2 flavors every month. So the staples kind of like cover every base from a palette standpoint. We've got like regular chocolate chip. We've got like sugar cookies, snickerdoodle. So we kind of cover the spectrum there. Yeah. Most popular, hands down, bestseller is our peanut butter white chocolate. Oh, that is so good. By far the most popular. It gets the most like raised eyebrows, but it's the most converts as well. Everybody loves that one. But I will say, so it's September 1st right now when we're recording. So we launch new flavors at the 1st of every month. September's 2 flavors are chai tea and pumpkin pie. Oh, those are so perfect. And we use real pumpkin puree in our pumpkin pie, and it's so good, so moist. And we also use local chai tea in our chai tea cookie. And so it's our general manager, her favorite cookie of all time is the chai tea. Really? But then it's September, and so obviously everybody's in like PSL mode. And so the pumpkin pie is super popular. And so it's hard. But I will say, back in March, we did a March Madness that, you're not legally allowed to call March Madness. And so we called it something like Bracket Mayhem or something. But we brought back all of our most popular feature flavors. Yeah. And s'mores. That one hands down. Of course it won. So that's coming next month in October. So everybody will get a chance to try that, but it's literally a s'mores wrapped in a cookie. Like, we weren't very creative with that one. Wow. Just classic. You can't go wrong. I just want the gooey marshmallow in the middle. It's there. We'll see. Maybe we can do a vegan version. You should, and you should call it the Heather. I will. That's good. That's awesome. Now, have y'all always been in kind of the food industry? Where did this idea come from, and kind of what were you doing before? Yeah, it's so interesting. Okay, so in terms of what we were doing directly before, my husband and I are both in real estate. Okay. So that is completely unrelated, but what is related is that he and I actually met at a dessert franchise years ago, like 12 years ago or something. And we were both working in Nashville. He was commuting. I was there, just living there. And this is when frozen yogurt was like a thing. Do you remember? There was a frozen yogurt store on every corner. So we met in the corporate of a frozen yogurt store that was headquartered out of Nashville. And so we worked together for several years. And so we kind of had that experience, which is very relevant in terms of opening up a dessert store. And so my sister is an at-home baker, and she just had these really great recipes. And so it was post-pandemic, we kind of were like, well, what are we going to do now? And so my sister actually moved here for a year. We used her recipes to start with, and then kind of worked from there. She was with us for a year. She just moved back in December. So we're almost at our first full year of, like, I call it my big girl year. Yeah. Like, I did it myself. So she moved back in December. We've been kind of like on our own ever since. And so it was just really weird, organic way of how it all just happened. But then, we always say nobody ever walks into a cookie store
upset, and they definitely don't leave a cookie store upset.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So it's always fun. We have such a great staff in the kitchen, and then you combine that with just everybody being so happy when they walk in, and it's just such a mood booster that I just love. I just go in there and basically just talk to my friends.
Just hang out.
Yeah, just hang out.
I love that. I love the whole purpose of, spreading joy.
Yes.
Right. And goodness, who's not grateful for a cookie? Especially a cookie that tastes like this.
Oh my gosh. Well, and so you and I were talking about this before we started recording, but I take cookies wherever I go because I call them my security blanket, because my sister, who's the home baker, we are twins. And so I have literally never been alone. So to go into someplace alone is very nerve-wracking. It is literally unnatural. And so I always take cookies and I just hold them up and I'm like me, please.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Everybody loves the cookie lady. That's just kind of we have this sub saying in the house is everybody likes the cookie lady. And so I just take cookies wherever I go.
Yeah.
And then I make friends. It's crazy.
But it's shocking, isn't it?
I know.
Why do they like me? I don't know.
Who knows? It's my sparkling personality.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Combined.
Yes. There we go.
That is awesome. Now, if there was somebody who was interested in starting a small business, what would what kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah. Oh, so interesting. There's so many things in terms of proof of concept. I would say something that was just unfortunate for us is by the time our construction started, do you remember during the pandemic when there were just harbors with just barges of shipping freight just sitting there? So that's when we built out. And so everything was very expensive.
Yes.
And so just run your numbers, which we ran our numbers, but just be smart in terms of maybe the situation warrants cooling off for a little bit. And then I would also say you form these relationships, and there are people who are going to be able to help you, and you don't even realize, especially, and I know that this goes out to people outside of Chattanooga, but the people in Chattanooga are so amazing and helpful. And I found this out after we opened and, tried to start networking and things, but it's oh my gosh, I should have done this before because everybody just wants to help. Chattanooga is so helpful, and Chattanooga loves a small business.
Yeah.
And so I just definitely would have kind of gotten my foot in those, I'm not even going to say social circles, I'm just saying literal talking to people and just putting your plans out there. I mean, people want to help. I mean, just the offers of help that we have gotten have been so heartwarming, and just the connections we've made, it's been so nice. But I would say if I could go back and redo it, I would probably be a little bit less kind of idealistic in terms of no, this has to be perfect, it's got to be this color, or you know what I mean. I'm just a perfectionist. I would be a little bit less perfectionist, and I would just go out and meet as many people as I can, because Chattanooga has so much to offer from a support standpoint. We didn't have to do it all ourselves. We did, and we found that support, but we didn't have to. Chattanooga would have helped out so much. And so that's one thing that I really loved about owning a business in Chattanooga is Chattanooga loves a small business, and small businesses love Chattanooga. And it's been such a great, very supportive, very friendly experience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, if you were to own a business outside of Chattanooga, would it still be the community connection and really planting yourself and kind of finding yourself within the community there?
I think so. So that's an interesting question, because like I said, my husband and I met at a dessert franchise, and so I have franchise experience. Okay. I personally think if I woke up tomorrow and I was in whatever, Idaho or Texas or a place that I did not know, I would probably rely on a franchise, which is probably a really weird answer. But because I don't know the area and I don't kind of know where the holes are in the market, I probably rely on a franchise because they do all of that market research for you. Yeah. And they kind of have all of that process and procedure ready to go. So that's probably what I would do. Now, what franchise would I own? What kind in the industry? That is a great question. And I feel like I can't get out of the food industry. Right. I just food makes people happy.
It does.
And I feel like I can't, especially desserts and indulgences. As I'm talking through this answer, it might just be another dessert store.
Yeah,
it just makes people so happy.
It does. The way to their heart is through their stomach.
It's so true. It's so true.
That's awesome. Now, with talking about just how important community is, are there ways that you and your team at the restaurant, or even you and your husband, like to serve others with or without your security blanket of cookies?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. And so it's actually, again, we're recording in September. In September, that's kind of the kickoff of charity season in Chattanooga. And so last year, we ran the numbers. I'm trying to remember what they were, but it was so long ago. We donated thousands of cookies, and a lot of those were to like galas and stuff, so that the funds that they raised at the galas didn't come to us, they stayed where they were supposed to go. So we donated thousands of cookies. We do a lot of like recipe development, and obviously if it's not something we can sell, then it just goes to waste if there's too much in terms of like what the girls can take home after their shift. And so we donate to Chattanooga Room at the Inn. Oh, yeah. And so we just try to make sure nothing goes to waste and try to take advantage whenever we can of helping out local charities that are helping out local residents as well. And so we've got this whole list of charities that we've partnered with. Like we did this, cookies for the St. Jude's, Dream Home, and we did the Pink Gala, Northside Neighborhood House. I mean, just everything that we could get our hands on, and everybody's always looking for opportunities to partner with local businesses, and we just try not to turn them down if we can help it. We'd love to be involved in that.
Absolutely. What is one of your favorite memories or events that y'all have been able to be a part of?
Oh my gosh. Okay, as the company. Yeah. That's so funny because I thought you were going to ask like in general when it came to baking, and I had such a random memory because...
You can give me that too, whatever it is.
Well, it's so funny, and this is like, so a lot of my friends know this, but I try to keep this on the down low for people in Chattanooga. So when I was growing up, I was literally like not allowed in the kitchen because when I was in the kitchen, if something went in the oven, it messed up. Yeah. Like I was a bad luck charm in the kitchen. And so my family and my friends from like high school and stuff always laughed that I ended up owning a bakery because it wasn't even allowed in the kitchen when I was growing up. And then here we are like recipe development. Yes, exactly. So that's just a fun childhood memory. So I will say, if you listeners, if you've never been in the store, so this is off Cherokee Boulevard, so there's a front entrance, all the parking is in the back. Okay. So there's a back entrance as well. And so we didn't want there to be just like this huge hallway, you know what I mean? And so there is a huge hallway, but we made it glass to look into the kitchen.
Oh, cool.
So it is so fun to see these kids, like their faces like plastered on the window. We have to like wash that window 10 times a day because there's just like fingerprints and like those little like cute little nose imprints on the glass and stuff. So honestly, it's not a specific memory. It's just every time a kid comes up and it's just like mesmerized by the mixers going, and if we've got something in a bowl, we'll like tip it over and show them, just because they've never seen like that much cookie dough. Mom's always making like enough for a dozen, and we're making like 10 dozen. And so their eyes just light up, and it's just so cute. I just love kids and just the unmitigated joy that they express. And so to own a cookie shop and just to see that, and I don't know, it just cheers me up.
And to know that y'all are the reason that smile is on their face.
It's probably an ego thing, but I just love it. They're so cute.
That's awesome. I love that. Now tell me about your husband.
Okay, my husband, Matt. He is in real estate. He works for a builder that actually does a lot of work like out in Ooltewah and stuff like that. But like I said, he and I met at a dessert franchise years ago, but he was born and raised in Chattanooga. Oh, wow. And so it has been, I moved here in like 2015, I guess. And I always joke with him, especially when I first moved here, I was like, I hate knowing you because it's like I can't even go to Walmart without putting on like at least a stitch of makeup because we're saying, hey Matt, everybody always knows Matt. He just knows everybody. And so it was just this very much, I thought I was moving. I came from Nashville. Yeah. And so that's like obscurity. Like nobody knows who I am in Nashville. I can go anywhere and nobody's going to recognize me. And at least in Nashville, because I went to school with my twin sister, I could just pretend to be her if somebody recognized me. But here in Chattanooga, everybody knows my husband. And so I was like, I can't even go to
no
Walmart.
Hiding.
I know, there's no hiding from your contact list. So he was born and raised here. His parents still live here. And actually the majority of his family still live here. So it's a big like family vibe on the holidays, and they really like their like July 4th outdoor stuff. And so they like anything outdoors. Yeah. And so he's got a big family here. His parents are still here. He's still here. He loves it here. Like I said, born and raised, and he was just apparently a saint because he's just indulging me in this cookie store idea, and he's right there with me. I mean, he's like bagging cookies, and I'm sure he would be willing to. I just don't trust him with a mixer, but he'll wash dishes. Like, he bags the cookies. Fantastic. I know. I'm
going to give him my address. I have some dishes that he can wash for me.
You know, you've been practicing for this, babe. I'm going to give you Heather's address.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, exactly. No, but he's great. He's a saint. I'm very lucky.
That is awesome. What is one of your like favorite memories? We know that, I mean, marriage is hard, right? Yeah. Marriage is fun and exciting and hard, and somehow communication becomes like non-existent some days. Right. And I don't know what that is, right? Well, it has to do with feelings, but what is one of your favorite memories with Matt, whether it was dating or marriage or whatever?
Ooh, okay. This is really tough because we have a lot of like favorite memories, but I will say, so you're like stereotypical opposites. Like he's like, fly by the seat of my pants. If it happens, it happens. And I'm over here like control freak. Let's make a plan and go by the plan. You know what I mean? And so
it sounds familiar.
Right? I'm sure nobody can recognize. So this is back in like 2018. He would like there was this break in work, and he was like, let's just go. And I was like, okay, great. When, where? I'll like start booking hotels. And he's like, no, babe. He's like, pack up. We're going to go. And we just literally pointed the truck west. And we just drove, and I eventually became okay with it. But I was just like, it's funny if you ask him, the whole time I'm like trying to like trick him into creating a plan. Like, okay, so I mean, if we do drive for about 4 or 5 hours, then we'll probably end up in this city, and so we could probably go here, and I'll start looking up restaurants. And he was like, you put that phone down. We're going to drive to wherever we go. We're being spontaneous. Yes, I'm trying to like de-spontaneous us. And so it was just great because it was, I definitely learned the value of not having a plan, and how fun things and great things can just happen, and you don't have to make sure that it's all like fits within this box and stuff. And that was a great like life lesson for me, but just experiencing everything. I mean, we drove from Chattanooga to Las Vegas, the Grand Canyon. I mean, it was a 2-week trip. And so just seeing all of those things that I haven't really seen a lot. I had never been to the Grand Canyon. I'd never been to Vegas. I'd never been to like Aspen and that whole side of the country. And so I got to have those experiences, but B, it was just this kind of like whatever happens vibe. It was very much against what I'm normally, the energy I'm normally running. And so it was really good. And my favorite memories, I mean, that's 2 weeks of us in the car it is 24/7. And talk about communication. Yeah. There's some communicating that was happening, and it was like sometimes it was a tiff, but the majority of the time we were like joking or listening to podcasts or books and talking about things. And from a communication standpoint, it was so much fun. And you just learn so much about somebody when you were stuck in a car with them for 24 hours a day. And things that even you've been married for, at that point, several years, and you're still learning things about each other. And it's just things that you don't, certain situations have to come up to like remind you of this memory or something. And so you're just in all these new situations that are different than what you do every day at home. These new situations are bringing up new memories and new thoughts. And so you're just forming all of these new experiences with someone. It was just so much fun. That was a really long-winded way of saying we did a road trip in 2018.
Jeez, Megan.
It was so fun. You're gonna have to put like a time warning on this episode.
No,
like,
that's
clear your
fantastic.
schedule.
Yes. Yes, you can take a trip to the Grand Canyon by the time you listen to this.
Yeah, it's great. You'll be there by the time it's done.
And on that note, this conversation will be continued in the next episode of Heather's Most Precious. Heather's Most Precious is brought to you with love by the Hendrickson Agency, an insurance agency serving all of Georgia and Tennessee. The Hendrickson Agency, properly protecting your most precious possessions. Support for Heather's Most Precious is provided by Study.com, which offers SAT and ACT study materials and even has resources for AP and college credit courses. Listeners of Heather's Most Precious get 30% off their first 3 months of any subscription level with offer code PRECIOUS. Just go to Study.com and use offer code PRECIOUS at checkout. Heather's Most Precious is produced by Chattanooga Podcast Studios and is part of the Podnooga Network. Find out more at ChattanoogaPodcastStudios.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back soon with another episode of Heather's Most Precious.